Zambia International Trade Fair is the country's biggest and leading trade and investment exhibition for local and international companies and other organizations. The 2018 Zambia International Trade Fair was held in Ndola from 27th June to 3rd July under the theme Private Sector, Key to Industrialization. The fair recorded over 400 exhibitors, out of which 49 were foreign entities, while 362 were local. The trade fair's theme of private sector, key to industrialization, resonated well with the over 400 local and international exhibitors that showcased their products and services with a view to establishing new markets and enhancing business linkages. This year's 54th Trade Fair underscored the country's aspirations and strides of transforming into a prosperous middle-income country by 2030. The President of Botswana, Mokgweetsi Masisi, officially opened the trade fair on June 28 and highlighted the importance of the private sector in enhancing national development.
I wish to recognize all the businesses that are showcasing their products here, which are critical components of private sector-led growth and diversification. I therefore commend you for the efforts that you have invested in developing your products and services and for exemplifying the kind of corporate citizenship that can take our respective countries to greater heights. Please take advantage of this occasion to establish and expand partnerships that will further the development of your businesses and thus broaden the economic base of your country.
Host President Edgar Lungu called for deepening of bilateral ties between Zambia and Botswana.
The mutual bilateral relations between Zambia and Botswana require us to reflect on our struggle for political independence and also efforts we have made at transforming our economies through increased trade and investment.
While the limelight at the 2018 Zambia International Trade Fair was mostly taken up by both local and international exhibitors, perennial show goers were mesmerized by the various entertainment on display. While some show goers sought great bargains, others looked out for trending innovations. For government ministries and departments, the trade fair has become an ideal platform to engage the general public and market their various services and roles they play in public service delivery. The Ministry of National Development Planning also exhibited at the 2018 Zambia International Trade Fair, and the general public seem informed about the role the ministry plays in the country's national development agenda.
Ministry takes care, or should I say, gives a knowledge to people, the development in different factors of our nation.
This Ministry of National Planning, to me, it is a new concept. And to me, it seems we in the country had gone to sleep. Now is the time that we're waking up. Because now that's when you can hear that people are trying to plan here and there. Last time there was no planning. So it's good that now we can talk about planning, and our planning, I hope it will go elsewhere or it will go somewhere. We should not only end at planning, but we should also go as far as implementing what we're planning.
Established in 2015, the Ministry of National Development Planning was created to efficiently and effectively coordinate national socio-economic planning programming, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation in order to achieve sustainable national development. Minister of National Development Planning led fellow cabinet ministers to tour the ministry's stand and appreciate the role that the ministry plays in fostering national development. Deputy Secretary to Cabinet for Finance and Economic Development underscored the relevance of the ministry.
Development planning is critical because it's a coordinating ministry for all government activities. And therefore, when we plan and talk about 2030, 2063, they're the key ministry to start looking at that big strategic picture of which the rest of the ministries then start following. So what I would urge all government departments is whatever they do, you should always ask yourself, how is this aligned to the 7th National Development Plan? Whatever program it should be aligned to the 5 pillars. If it's not aligned to the 5 pillars, then you're off the tangent.
The ministry's permanent secretary for Development Planning and Administration explains the work of the ministry.
The Ministry of National Development Planning does is that it provides the investment direction in terms of coming up with the fundamental areas of investment for the country. And from the 7th National Development Plan, the number 1 pillar, which is pillar number 1, and deals with economic diversification and job creation. And in there, we have provided the policy direction in terms of what government wants to do in the area of energy diversification, infrastructure development, manufacturing, and enhancement of the value chain. And these objectives or development trajectory that are earmarked to be embarked on in the medium term will not change. And therefore, it provides the basis for the private sector to position themselves to come up with their plans and interventions in terms of how they're going to partner with government in the direction that will be coherent, consistent, and will not change until after 2021, when government will come up with another development trajectory after assessing the impact of the plan that we have currently.
In line with the 2018 Trade Fair theme of private sector, key to industrialization, the ministry's permanent secretary wants the private sector to play a crucial role in the attainment of sustainable development.
The private sector has to know, how do we come in? And I was indicating to colleagues within the private sector that they have to be part of the development dialogue process. From district level, we have the district coordinating committees. At provincial level, we have the provincial development coordinating committees. At national level, we have the technical working groups and the cluster advisory groups. And then a national endeavor, which is the National Development Coordinating Committees. And the private sector have a platform to pinpoint areas, policy inconsistencies, distortions, and how best we can collectively develop this country so that we do not leave anyone behind, but we move as one team.
The Ministry of National Development Planning has several departments which play crucial roles in helping the ministry achieve its mandate. Like in any other organization, the ministry's Human Resource Department is key in developing human resource with right skills and performance levels needed in driving the activities of the ministry. The Department of Development Planning coordinates the development of policies, plans, and programs to promote equitable and sustainable development.
Our role is to actually produce national development plans, and the current plan that we've produced is the 7th National Development Plan. Quite recently, we developed an implementation plan for the 7th National Development Plan, which contains the timelines of when we're going to implement certain programs, as well as the costing of those programs, how we bring in the private sector to implement the 7 National Development Plan. But I think a fundamental departure in the plan is that whilst the other plans were sectoral based plans, in that you saw different chapters of agriculture, mining, energy and so on, this plan takes an integrated multi-sectoral approach, meaning that we are trying to tackle certain developmental challenges using multiple sectors. You will agree with me that poverty is not for one sector alone to fight, but it's a combination of sectors that need to fight poverty. So this is the approach that we've taken, and coming with that, we've developed coordination and implementation structures, which we are calling cluster advisory groups, as well as we have a National Development Coordinating Committee, which brings different sectors, including the private sector. So at provinces and at district level, we'll have the Provincial and District Development Coordinating Committees. We've also reformed the subgroups of those to suit the 5 clusters of the 7 National Development Plans. So they have subgroups to do with economic diversification and job creation, poverty, reducing vulnerability, enhancing human development, as well as creating a conducive governance environment. But also within the department, we have a number of projects which we look at in terms of climate change.
While at the trade fair, the department explained to pupils who visited the stand what the ministry does for the many school-going children around the country.
We have planned to build schools for you people, for primary, and when you grow up, we have planned to build schools for you for secondary. Yes. Go to secondary school. We have also planned to build colleges for you and universities. Plan is that we put more clinics, we put more nurses, more doctors, and we build more hospitals, so that when you fall sick, you have a hospital nearby to go to. Why? We also put more water pipes, so that when you need water in the home, in the community, all those things are there, right? We've also planned that we'll buy more books for you and more desks, right in this book.
The Monitoring and Evaluation Department coordinates the development and implementation of systems to assess ministries and other spending agencies.
Our role as a department in the ministry is to assess the performance of all government programs that have been developed, that are being implemented by different line ministries across the country, including what is being implemented by provinces as well as down to the district. So the department is involved in the setting of standards in terms of monitoring and evaluation, building capacity across line ministries, but also in providing reports of assessment.
Another key department is the Public Investment Planning Department.
Of the department, which is the Public Investment Planning Department, is to ensure that there is a clear mechanism or process and institutional arrangements that facilitate the preparation of these projects for ease and effective implementation. We coordinate the appraisal of these projects to check that the projects are first and foremost in line with the objectives of the development plans, and secondly, to ensure that the costs that go into implementing these are justified by the benefit that will be derived out of these investments.
The National Designated Authority, NDA, is a project office within the National Development Planning process. The NDA is a main liaison between Zambia and the Green Climate Fund, GCF, the largest global financier for climate change programs.
It's a development planning department under the Ministry of National Development Planning. And this is the NDA. However, this is operationalized through a project office called the NDA. So we are secretariat to the ministry to ensure that there is an efficient proposal development process in terms of receiving, processing, and forwarding to the GCF and other funds. 1 year we have achieved 2 project proposals that have been approved by the GCF. One is in renewable energy and one is in agriculture. Now, for you to develop a proposal, you need the client and what are called accredited entities. In this case, for example, Ministry of Agriculture deals with UNDP to take a proposal to the GCF, and we issue the letter of no objection, having looked at the proposal. So we have achieved 2. One was worth 137 million. This is in agriculture, livelihoods, and the other one is worth $141 million, which is in renewable energy. So in comparative terms, I should admit that to some extent the public sector, yes, is playing a role, but we need project proposals also to come from ministries. And I should say that ministries need to take a keen interest. We have taken a deliberate policy now to reach out to ministries to develop proposals. But at the same time, the private sector needs to play a key role.
The NDA has already mobilized over 84 million United States dollars in grants at the first attempt. It is now seeking to raise more funds for climate change interventions in the country.
What we expect in the next 2 or 3 board meetings is that we'll be able to mobilize hopefully about 300 to 400 million. And we think this is a good figure to look at in comparative terms, because as you are aware, in terms of access to the GCF, so far only 74 projects have been rather approved. And as Zambia, I think in terms of how much we have accessed from the GCF in terms of the aggregate, we stand only second to Egypt.
There are other projects of national importance under the ministry, such as the pilot program for climate resilience, PPCR.
PPCR, we are in 25 districts, and in all these 25 districts we have about 1,000 or so projects which are actually being implemented. Some have been completed, some are still being implemented. We've seen a lot of positive change that is happening in the livelihoods of these the vulnerable local people.
Another project is the Zambia Integrated Forestry Landscape Project.
It's a 5-year project which is mainly focusing on, number 1, reducing the community's vulnerability to climate change. Number 2, it's looking at enhancing the benefits that the communities will be getting from the wildlife sector, agriculture sector, as well as the forestry industry. At the same time, we're also looking at building the capacity of the communities to be able to sustainably manage their natural resources. So the target area for this particular project is Eastern Province.
Other departments under the Ministry of National Development Planning include the Population and Development Department that develops and implements population and development policies and plans to enhance people-centered development. The Central Statistical Office is also domiciled under the Ministry of National Development Planning and provides credible official statistics for the country for use by stakeholders. While Indeni Petroleum Refinery won the 2018 Overall Exhibitor and Best Interpretation Award, the Ministry of National Development Planning is pleased with public response and interest in its programming and activities. After all, it is for these very people that the Ministry of National Development Planning exists to plan how to improve their livelihoods and the very socio-economic development that the communities and their land yearns for.